Welcome in. We are joined by George Mason head coach Vanessa Blair-Lewis, as well as student athletes Kennedy Harris and Zahira Walton. We will start with an opening statement from Coach Blair-Lewis.
I'm just really proud of these young ladies. Hats off to Richmond. Erin Rousseau has a great team, well coached. It's been really good competition in these last couple of years. But I'm really proud of these ladies. They were locked in. We knew that we had to come out and be very formidable defensively because they have a really good offensive squad. And I know our ladies locked in today, and Zion Ken just came and put the nail in the coffin offensively.
We'll now open it up to questions for our student athletes. We'll start with John.
Here I'm John O'Connor from the Richmond Times-Dispatch, and I wonder what in your mind was the defensive key to holding down Dugan and the Spiders? Thank you.
Just being physical, not letting them have any space, just making them uncomfortable however we can.
Third row there.
This is Peter Miller from Florida State. You guys played Richmond just over a month ago, and what did you take from that matchup leading into this matchup, and how did you find success using that knowledge?
Just learning from our past mistakes, just making sure that we come in and try to be as perfect as we can be.
Can you grab the mic, please? We'll go to Daniel, first row, please.
Daniel from Richmond Talk. For you guys, big third quarter run, it was a 13-0 run that you guys had. What was the message at halftime that just produced such that big quarter?
Not letting up, just knowing the game's not over. We still got to play as hard as possible.
Got it. Third row.
Brian Hyam, Florida State JMU. It felt like at times it was an EVA home game, despite Richmond just being a couple miles down the road. Just how much was the crowd a factor today, and how much did it help you guys get the win?
It's a thanks to all our fans that are showing up. They're always loud and they're always supporting us, so that just gives us the energy to do what we need to do on the court.
Zach?
Ladies and Voice Atlantic.com. I have to ask you, she might have had 0 points, but just tenacious 3 rebounds today when things could have gone either way. Just how proud of you were her fight and her fight in general?
Just very proud of her for staying ready, just knowing her number's going to get called. So she went out there and helped us out a lot.
We'll go up to Natalie first, please.
Natalie covering Thursday Night Basketball. What have you learned over the course of the season that you hope will help you tomorrow in the championship game?
I think we've been in every type of situation when it comes to any game we have played. So I think now it's just we're using all of that to our advantage and we're prepared.
Third row.
For Kennedy, you sustained a lower body injury in the last game. How much did that affect you in this game, and how have you been able to persevere through it?
It didn't affect me at all. Once adrenaline starts going, the game's on the line. That's all you're really focused on.
Okay. We'll go right next to him, and that'll get you down.
So what was the mindset on the boards today, especially on the offensive glass?
Just getting those extra possessions that we needed. That was pretty much it.
Danny.
You guys saw Rhode Island about a month ago or so, right before you saw Richmond. It was a game that you guys did shoot pretty well, but still didn't hang around to Rhode Island at the end. What do you feel like is going to be the key this time around against the Rams?
I think it's on us. It's not really about them. It's just making sure that we're the team that we say we are and that we show up and play like it.
Back to third row.
This question for either of you. You guys have both had experience playing now 3 games in 3 days with last year's tournament as well. Just what goes into making sure that you're staying ready with a back-to-back now, and what's it going to take to get that championship against Rhode Island?
Taking care of our bodies, staying locked in, and just knowing it's not over yet. We still got one more.
Any other questions for our student athletes today? In the back there?
Tiger One, DC News Now. You guys have a chance tomorrow to go back-to-back A-10 champions. What does that say about the growth of this program from your perspectives, and what does that say just about, this team and the core nucleus of this team?
It shows exponential growth. That's kind of what we were aiming for. So the job's not finished yet. We still got to play tomorrow, but I know we're prepared and we're ready.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Exponential growth. See, okay.
All right, we'll now open it up to questions for Coach Blair Lewis. We'll start with Daniel in the front, please.
Daniel, thank you for talk. Coach, you guys in the last 2 games against Richmond held them to 37 and 45 points. Tonight you held back Duke to 27% shooting. Besides just playing physically, what have you guys figured out against Richmond that has made you so successful?
I think what we figured out about ourselves, we're a really good defensive team, and we can switch all positions. So that makes it hard to get an advantage when, as soon as you run a screen or run any action, we're just switching on it. And so that's what we did at home against them. We were really successful, and we were able to do that again tonight.
Third row.
Coach, talk about the decision to keep Alla in with 6 minutes left in the game as you guys are trying to hold on to a lead after she picked up that 4th foul.
I just think that we trust her a lot. She knows the magnitude of the game. Just being a fifth-year player, she knew that she couldn't get into foul trouble, but she had done a great job on Dugan, and so we wanted to keep that length and that physicality on her.
You can pass it right next to you.
Coach, what impressed you most about Hala's turnaround from last game into this game, and also what just impressed you most about the team today?
I just think they were locked in. There's moments as a coach you go in the locker room and there's no speech prepared that you need, and that's been these last 2 games. Maybe I needed one a little bit more yesterday, but today you just knew that they were locked in. This has been one of our goals. So when you get to these moments right now, the only moments that matter are the ones that we're in, and that's what we talk about. Just be in this moment.
Natalie.
Natalie, with the basketball, what have you learned over the last 2 days that you're hoping to continue and apply into tomorrow?
Just how tenacious this team is when they're locked in on defense. Offense, they say, sells tickets, but when you get to winning championships, your defense has to show up. People are their habits at this part of the year, and so we know habitually what people are going to be, and so defensively, we got to be locked into people's habits.
John?
Vanessa, John O'Connor from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. How do coaches feel in general about playing here, not far from the University of Richmond, not far from VCU, not a whole lot of distance from George Mason, but clearly the Spiders and Rams have an advantage in this building?
Did they? I think Henrico has been really kind to us. This has been a great mid-size arena where the girls can feel like it's there are people in here for us. I think we're going to have to play it somewhere, and you're going to be in probably somebody's backyard. But at this time of the year, it doesn't matter. The floor is 94 feet and the basket's 10 feet high, and so you just got to be ready to play. Wherever it is, you just got to be ready to play.
Thank you.
We'll go with Zach and then Daniel.
Zach Weiss at Lennington.com. Piggybacking off of what I asked the ladies, the intensity and the energy that Paige gave, particularly in that 4th quarter, just how much of a calling card is that for you all, and how contagious was that today?
Well, before we left Fairfax, we said everybody has to be ready. This is everybody's championship. It's everybody's run. So everybody has to be ready. So there was no concern about putting Paige in, nor would it have been anyone. And especially Paige being a veteran on this squad, she knows the impact and what she has to do out there, and she knew you got to rebound, especially at this time in the game. So nobody was concerned about Paige not being ready. Paige has stayed ready.
Going back to November, you guys had the leads in the second half against both Princeton and, I'm blanking on the other one, but the two fourth quarter losses. And Jeff Swenson again tonight with fourth quarter lead, second half lead, third quarter run, where the lead never gets below 9. What does that show about the team's growth and ability to not just hold the lead, but just keep the game in full control?
Yeah, Daniel, you had to go back there. You know, I think Kennedy said it best. All of those opportunities lost, right, in December. It was Liberty and Princeton when you were right there. You know, these are the moments that we grew from. And so in this game, you either win or you learn, and we learned.
Third row.
After Kennedy's three-point play on the jumper, you just couldn't contain your emotion. Just what were you feeling in that moment? What was going through your mind?
I was just really proud of them. Richmond is a storied program. You know, I talked to Aaron after the game, and you know, we go at it back and forth. And you're, like you said, you're in their backyard, and it's a sea of red in the stands. And you know, our girls obviously didn't play their best game yesterday, but they played good enough to win. And just for them to have the resiliency, you know, to let out that scream, you know, you're almost 30 games into a season that for us has been since Spain in August, and you just start to see the fruits of your labor, and your veterans step up and be veterans. I'm just really proud of them.
Coach, speak to the importance of grounding your team after an intense win from yesterday, the excitement of winning. So maintaining that focus coming into this game against a really good team in Richmond.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot to be said. We'll be prepared.
Any other questions for Coach? Great, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Daniel.
All right, we're now joined by Richmond head coach Aaron Roussel, as well as student athletes Maggie Dugan and Rachel Olstrom. We will start with an opening statement from Coach Roussel.
First off, I want to make sure you're all right, Mel. You about took one in the face today. You all right? Yeah, I saw it. I don't know that you saw it. Obviously a really tough one today, both personally, but also just as a team, as a program, as a university. I think everybody knows how bad we wanted this. Everybody knows how bad I wanted this for these two up here, for everybody in our program, for our staff. I probably say this most other years, but nothing ever ends well, right? If it ended well, it wouldn't end. So when it ends, it hits hard. It doesn't feel good. We know we're a really good team. It wasn't our day today. We didn't quite have it. We're an explosive offense, and winning against a team that knows us really, really well. Defended us really, really well, and we kind of had a sense it was going to be kind of one of those slugfests. It was going to be probably closer to what it was last game than what it is when both of us, are playing other people. They made some big shots today. They had some players that really stepped up. That doesn't mean that ours didn't. We just, in a make-or-miss sport, it didn't go our way today. That's a huge credit to their staff and their scheme. I thought they played us well. But we know that we're a really good team, and, and that's what's tough about a one-game playoff, right? In a one-game playoff, you don't get to say the shots will go in tomorrow, you don't get to fix things. It just wasn't our day today. We know that, but we also know we're a really good team and look forward to proving that.
We'll now open it up to questions for our student athletes. We'll start with John.
Maggie, John O'Connor, Richmond Times-Dispatch. I wonder, second game in a row, Mason's giving you a hard time defensively. What is it about what Mason does that allows them to do that? Thank
I don't know how to say it nicely. I think they hold and they grab, and I think that they did a lot of that today. I think they got away with a lot of that today. They're athletic. They're a very good defensive team. They overhelp a lot. We were missing the skip passes, but when we're getting bumped off our mark like that and we're not able to finish our cuts and we're not able to, make the reads that we're used to making, it's going to be difficult for our offense.
Natalie?
Natalie, during the night basketball, for either or both of you, how do you think the team has grown since, either the summer or the start of the season in November?
I think we've made tremendous strides. Obviously, we were a newer team than we have been in the past, so I'm just trying to bring the freshmen and the transfers along was something new for me as a senior leader, but it was very rewarding to see the freshmen and everybody start to figure out the offense and kind of get a hang of things. I thought Rain stepped up huge today. I thought Ava came in, Tiara came in, and Anisha Scott came in. I think they all just did what they could to try and give us a little spark power off the bench. And yeah, it's really awesome to see. I told them all that, I want them to go get this thing next year because they have the highest ceiling and they're going to do so well. So it was great to, see them grow along the ride, and I just hope that they continue to get better.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll now open it to questions for Coach. We'll start with John again.
Aaron, given John O'Connor, Richmond Times-Dispatch, given the success Richmond had in the NCAA tournament last year, I wonder if that might, in your mind, help the Spiders' case as an at-large team?
Last year's success, I think it proves what we can do on a national stage. I think we started the season last year, or this year, not wondering if we could kind of get back to that. And I think if you look by every metric, if you look by the coaches' thing, is with all due respect to last year, I think we got to a point that our offense is better than it was last year. Our defense is leaps and bounds better than it was last year. So, I hope we get that chance. I think last year we probably said the same thing. I think we had done everything that everybody had asked us to do with regard to schedule, and, the same thing this year. Like we're the top mid-major net in the country. That's what they talked to us about doing. We're top every metric. We're a top 15, top 10 offense throughout the year. Even with that slugfest that we had, stretch a couple weeks ago. Now all of a sudden we're top 10, top 20 defense. By every metric there. So I think we've done what you're supposed to do. We have an administration that supported this, right? We not everybody's going to play two tournaments. We've tried to play everybody. We all know this. It's all documented. Everybody knows. Last year's success, John, did not help us schedule. I'll say that this year. But you're going to two tournaments. So we went to a Thanksgiving tournament, Chris, to try to play everybody that we could. We also got booted from 4 of those tournaments because people couldn't schedule us there. So that part's hard. But everything that we controlled, we couldn't get some of those powers. Some of them are, probably bubble teams with us right now. But so we went and scheduled every good mid-major that we could, and so went and go to play those guys. We won all those games by double digits. So, I think, I know what I'll answer it. The success that we had in the tournament last year will help us if we get in, no question. I really like this team, and that's what probably hurt today is we wanted to leave no doubt. But I think, studying this as much as I have and looking at it, I do think we should have a really good chance. Everybody else that's in at large is going to lose either has lost or is going to lose to. So they're going to have this same feeling of kind of that emptiness. But I just really hope that we get this chance, because this is a team that can make some noise, and we've been lights out offensively all year. This is a tough matchup in a team that knows us really well. It's the fourth time that we've prepared for each other. Not only just that we've played 3 times, we had the game canceled. So we've been through this with both of us. And again, I'll say this, we've done everything we could in addition to the conference scheduling. This isn't like a balanced schedule anymore. So when you're talking to the league about what you're trying to do from a scheduling standpoint, I don't know there's many coaches that are saying, hey, go make our doubles against the 3 top teams in the league. Go make all of our road games against the top. That's what it was. If you look at this, we couldn't schedule the bubble teams. We couldn't schedule the teams that we wanted to play, Texas and TCU. Nobody else wanted to play Texas and TCU, right? So that's 2 of them, right? We went out and tried to get everybody we could, and the ones that are on they know that we did too. We went and scheduled everybody that we could, and we even made the conference schedule as difficult as we could. And we were a game away and a tough 40-hour stretch. Oh, by the way, playing 3 games on the road in 5 days. Ain't no other coach that's done that. I hope no coach ever has to do that again. So when you lose 2 of them and one of them goes to overtime and your All-American gets fouls out, like that's a tough sled, and that game goes the right way, and we're probably conference champions, and maybe this is looked at optically a little bit different.
Thank you.
Daniel?
Daniel, Benjamin, talk. When you mentioned the familiarities you have at George Mason's, the last 2 games that really have made offense for you very difficult. What about what they're doing, besides just the physicality, has been so effective?
The physicality, again, they have a great staff. Vanessa does a good job. That whole staff does a good job. I think both of us know each other pretty well. I think you watched the last game. You watched what we did for most of the game today. And, they had some players that went off and made some shots. They did some things. But, yeah, I think they know us well. So I think the physicality with the switching, the physicality, I think we're a team that likes to cut and likes to do a lot of free-flowing things and count on that. Try to get to the free throw line on some of those off-the-ball actions. And, sometimes this time of year, the physicality is just different. And, maybe we didn't handle it the best. Maybe I didn't, put us in some spots. But, again, it comes down to a make or miss sport. They made it really difficult. I thought we did for the most part. I thought we played defensively well enough to win. And that's, I think, also a growth for this year's team, too. Like, we won yesterday and won by 20 points against a good team in a conference tournament, and we didn't make shots. Today, we weren't making shots, and I had to remind our kids, like, hey, this feels disgusting, doesn't it? This doesn't feel very good. And we're right there. We're right there at halftime. It goes to 5 off a banked-in shot. Okay. Like, we still have the firepower to do it. A couple times I thought we were making some runs, and they answered. Walton and Harris were fantastic. I think we've guarded them pretty well this year, and they made some plays today, and that's what March is about.
Natalie?
Natalie, Richmond times basketball. Similar to what I asked the players, how have you seen the team grow since you were putting back together over the summer, or since the season started in November?
Yeah, again, I think because of the success last year, I think there's some really high expectations, and we love that. Maggie's really good. Rachel's really, really good. Allie Sweeney proved a lot last year. I think we got some reward in that top 25 early in the season, probably a little bit based off of last year. I thought we were going to be good, but I just didn't know where it would end. And so much for this group was about March, and even the schedule. When you're playing as tough a schedule as we did, it was like, oh man, playing Texas in that first week with a new team is going to be rough. But again, where we've settled right now, again, like even if you look at last year's team, with all due respect, we're better probably on both ends of the floor by the end of the season. I'm maybe as proud of anything that I am of this team and of Maggie, of Rachel, for leading us through that, because this is a unique roster. Everybody saw that Maggie Dugan came back, which is amazing, right? And I hope is rewarded. Rachel, like both of those 2 came back when they had their opportunities. Allie, the fact that I get to be forever, that I get to say that I was their college coach for 4 years, like that's special to me. The mark that they've left on the program. But to be at a spot where Coach can sit here and say, like, we got to this point, and again, with all due respect to last year's team, but, like, we might be better. Like, I don't know that I believe that in November. I love that everybody else thought that. We were riding that. We were milking that. But the fact that we got to a point that we can say that we're at the level that we are, again, we lost to a really good team today that knows us well. This is an explosive team that again, ever since, calendar year, the only hiccups we had until this point were the 2 games at the end of that 3 games and 5 days on the road trip. Everything else in calendar year since Christmas was lights out. I mean, margin of victory, like look at the margin of victory, the schedule we had in our league, tops, we were 18, 19 point margin, like we've played really, really well. I don't think we had a single-digit game outside of the triple overtime game against Davidson. Everything else was a double-digit win. So I know that I did not believe that in November, that this team could get to this point. We have, and that's something I'm very grateful for.
We'll go to Zach first, and then Alan.
Aaron, Zach Weiss, Atlantic10.com. Following up on something you mentioned yesterday, the defense. Just how far has that defense in particular come, and just how much of a sense of pride is that for you?
A tremendous sense of pride in our defense. I know that that's not the shtick that we get in this program. I think when your offense has been as explosive as we have over the last really couple of years, but especially at the end of last year, and the signs that we showed early and what we've built ourselves to be. But we probably heard some knocks. I know there's some people mentioning, hey, they're still this, but their defense isn't that. And we saw those press conferences. We took that to heart. I'm a big analytics guy, and so we've used that to show our team of the groupings and the category, the tier that we're in, from a defensive standpoint. Like, we couldn't have done that last year, and so that, again, that's a tremendous sense of pride. I think Alicia Newell, the fact that she wasn't on an all defensive team was hard to swallow, other than you look at the rest of the people that were on it, and yeah, I mean, they're justified, don't get me wrong, but I think what she can do, what Rain can do, like, those are 2 potential defensive players of the year. We're going to look back and be like, oh, they were doing this as freshmen and sophomores. So, and I think collectively we've schemed it better. But just, again, to sit here and to say that Richmond, again, got here because of our defense, I think is a sense of pride for me.
In the back, please.
Bill Ladd with WRSC. Just curious what the message was to the team following the game. Obviously, really disappointing, but you guys are open to play some more basketball this year.
Yeah. As a coach, you want to fix everything. You want to put a positive spin. You want to make everybody feel good, and we all think that we can be the person, the magic words to fix that, right? There's nothing that takes away the sting in the locker room, and you can blabber, you can talk, you can try to find the words. There's nothing, and so it really, to me, was just the gratefulness that I had to them, to be a part of it. Again, like, Maggie Dugan's can do amazing things. I get to say that with a college basketball coach. Same with Rachel. Like, we got to have this experience. Like, that was truly special to me, and I can go through the room and say why this was really special for me with each one of those kids. And at some point I will tell them, each of them, what they mean to me and why this was special. But just collectively as a group, you can't sit here and say, hey, we want it more than anybody. Everybody wants it. Everybody starts practice in October wanting the same thing. We always look at the banners and say, the rafters, hey, there's 14 teams in the league. We all want the same thing. Started this tournament on Wednesday. Everybody wanted the same thing. So that's the crushing part, is for Maggie, Rachel, yeah, man, like, it's going to crush me forever that I didn't get to go out this way with them. With the new kids, you don't know if they're going to get that chance. So you want everybody that plays for you to get a ring, to get all of that, and to get that experience. But at the same point, it's still part of our story. You look at the heartbreak last year, like, I don't know that we get to do what we did last year, the run that we go on, if we don't have the disappointment in the semis. So I told them at the end, it's still part of our story. We know we're going to get to play basketball, and we hope like heck it's going to be, in the NCAA tournament. And I think we're a team that we've prepared ourselves to make some noise in the NCAA tournament, similar to what we did last year. But I know I get to coach those kids, so maybe that takes a little bit of sting away. That regardless, get to practice and coach with them again.
Natalie.
You've touched on Maggie and Rachel, but how have they helped in their 4 years grow the Richmond program?
It's what you do, look up at the sky when you're trying to fight the emotions, right? I think, again, we've had a lot of really special players during my time here, so this is not like ranked, but again, the experience that I've had with both of those two, right? Times have changed in NCAA. You know, the fact that you're getting home from UCLA last year on a Sunday night and a Monday night and Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. the portal opens, you know, and so you're starting to have some real conversations with kids. And again, you know, like they came back during a time where not a lot of people would have come back. Love those two, like, sisters, daughters. Like, I've honestly said, I don't know that I could have made the same decision for my daughter the way that those guys did. Like, that's the sacrifice that they made to come back. So I think it says a lot to the rest of the program of why this place is special, and not just me, not just staff, not just players, not just our program, but our university, you know, the fans, like what this place has turned into. You saw it a little bit today, but like, the Robins Center is an awesome place to be right now. The Robins Center was not the same when Maggie and Rachel got here. So part of this is they've rode the wave and they've rode the rise, but part of this is they've created the rise. They've created the change and attention that we get. There's probably wasn't a full room, 4 years ago when we were having this conversation. So I think they've really put this place on the map. They wouldn't say this for themselves, but they've really put this place on the map. And hopefully there's somebody out there that wants to be the next Maggie, the next Rachel, and we ride this thing for a while at this place.
Any other questions for Coach? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate you guys.